The yellow kit is not cursed after all. Welcome back to Where Rams Walk. Delighted to have you along with us. We've got our full team here to look back on some of the social media takes from the Plymouth game and just what on the hell has happened to Marcus Harness. We'll get into all of that in a second. Thank you very much for joining us. Before that, though, we're looking ahead to the 8 games which are now left for Derby County and getting the panel's view on what's going to happen in this crazy season. Kieran, I think it was 2 weeks ago, just as Eustace was taking over, I think I asked you whether you still believe, and I think you four were probably the only Derby County fans that still believed. And my God, you were right to, weren't you?
Yeah. You know what? This past week has been really just a complete change. I thought we were down, genuinely, like deep down. I thought this wasn't going to be us, but the whole side just looks rejuvenated. Everyone looks behind Eustace. I'm buzzing, man. Buzzing.
Yeah. And what's with his early goals, Luke? I mean, God, Plymouth, Coventry as well. He seems to have you up for the fight from the off, doesn't he?
Yeah, straight away, like from the get-go, attacking football. It's just so refreshing to see us actually attacking, pressing people, make mistakes. It's just it's night and day. Honestly, it's so nice to go to like Pride Park now and think, oh, we're gonna watch something good here. It's so good at the minute. I'm loving it.
All right, we'll get into some social media bits in a second. Let's have a look then at what's to come, because what must be disappointing is that you come out from home park and discover that Cardiff have just gone and sunk Blackburn, and Hull have managed to equalise. And it's getting to that point now, isn't it, where you're just looking for so many other results as well. Let's jump into what's left then. Before we do so, do drop us a subscribe and do drop us a like. We've done it for 33 weeks now. It's so hard to grow any content, of course, on YouTube, on any topic. Well, there's great podcasts like Rams Talk and so on. We're just delighted to have you along listening to us for 20 minutes a week. Right then, Stace, let's give you the home games to look over. Preston, Burnley, Luton. My God, that's going to be loud. And then it can't come down. It can't come down to Stoke, and your heart rates will be through the roof, wouldn't they? What do you reckon to these 4 games?
I think we beat Preston, get a draw with Burnley, beat Luton, and beat Stoke, and that should be us.
That will do you, won't it?
I think so. I think if we get 3 more, 3, maybe 4 wins, pick up a couple of points on the road, I think we've got a good chance at Swansea as well. But yeah, I fancy the home form. We're getting at teams, relatively quick starts, and we've got scoring boots back on. So yeah,
I mean,
everything's rosy.
Weirdly, there's nothing on here apart from Burnley at home that's possibly scary, is there? I mean, Peyton, let's look at the away ones with you. Swansea, winnable. Portsmouth, winnable. West Brom might be winnable, given that might have already been done and dusted by then. And Hull is definitely winnable, given they're shocking at home.
I mean, we have a good record at the Hawthorns as well, to be fair. So I honestly think out of all of those games, there's maybe one, I'd say, where there's a higher chance that we lose than we get a point or win, which is Burnley. And out of every other game, like, we could definitely get a win against Swansea, can get a win against Portsmouth, but it's a hard place to go to, Fratton Park, so you take a draw there. West Brom, I'd honestly say it's a free hit, really, but I said that at Coventry and we beat them 2-0. So, And then Hull, it's a big game, but it depends on where we are in the league. It could be that Hull are flying away from us and we're still comfortable ourselves, and that whole game doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I feel
the Preston game is rearranged, Kieran, because of their involvement in the FA Cup. Does that make that game harder because all the other teams will have played before you, or does it make it easier?
I think a little bit easier. Reason because I think a lot of the team yesterday, especially towards the end of the game, looked a little bit tired. So I think a bit of a good extended break would be good for them, actually. And now if we can go full fire for the last few games of the season, I think we've got a great chance. Yeah, I think besides Burnley, I don't see any of those sides causing us too much trouble. And I also think Stoke, look, poor. Every time I've watched them this season, they've looked poor, and I think they're running the risk of just dropping down the table.
We asked Artificial Intelligence to predict the end of the season table. Should we have a look at who they relegated? It wasn't Derby. Yes, it wasn't Derby. They said Oxford are actually going to go down with Plymouth and Luton. You'd take that now, wouldn't you, Luke? Yeah. 48 points. I had to go as well. That was following the Coventry result. I actually put you down though.
Dear.
That's woeful on me. Just by 2 points. Only by 2 points. But I think if I did it again after this weekend, after that result at Plymouth, I'd obviously change my mind. Right then, Luke, what's been obviously we know John Eustace is the difference, but tactically, formation-wise, what are we noticing as a footballing difference?
A lot more pressing, a lot more attacking, players in the correct positions. I think he's just gives some of the players who had no confidence that confidence back. Now look at Marcus Arnott. Like under Warne, he just looked like nothing. He was nothing. I didn't want him here, but now he looks like a completely different player. And I think, I think he's just really got the confidence back in the players saying, you can do this, we can do it. And like you said himself, we're not victims, we're fighters.
Absolutely. We had a lot of tweets like this. Yes, Samuel saying, whatever Eustace has done with Harness, give him a knighthood for it. 2 goals, Stace, we'll see against Plymouth, but he's always had a good player in him, hasn't it? Is it just perhaps show he's not been coached well enough? Sorry, Stace.
Yeah, I think so. I saw him in a pre-season friendly when he was about 15 for Burton against Derby, and he was really good. And there's a player there. I just think he was being asked to do something that was probably alien to him, and in a team that wasn't playing football. So now we're playing a bit more football. It's on the floor. He's more involved, and you're seeing he's reaping the benefits of that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. There's other players that need a shout out. Peyton, who were they?
One, definitely Harrison Armstrong. I mean, he's a great player. He is. Obviously, brought him in all over from Everton, and I think a lot of fans saw that deadline day and were like, why on earth we signed an 18-year-old who's played like 3 professional games in his career ever? What are we doing? And look at him now. He's an integral part of the midfield. He scored a brilliant goal. And I mean, he looks like he's been playing in the Championship for the last 10 years, to be honest with you. I think Jerry Yates, I feel like his shooting's been a bit rubbish, but I feel like a lot of the other things he does for the team are so important. And I think he's going to get a lot of stick for his finishing. And obviously, he missed a sitter, and he does it a bit too often, to be honest with you. But his general play is incredible, and he's really, really finding his own for us.
Yeah. International break, sadly, though, Kieran. Carl says, unbelievable turnaround in results, and all of a sudden we look like a team under John Eustace. We have now a fight belief and a never give up attitude. A huge win today keeps us in contention with the teams of others, and an international break to recharge the batteries. But there were other people saying this is coming at the wrong time for Derby, this international break, and we need to play Preston next weekend. Have they got a? You can't do anything about it, but have they got a point? Is it potentially disruptive? This, it's more than 2-week break, isn't it? Really?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Every other team's having a break as well, and I don't think I would rather go into the international break with 3 wins than 3 losses. So it doesn't affect anything. I think also it was also very, how do I put it, motivating to beat a side like Plymouth because they're in the mix as well, and you've almost got that psychological. Okay, well if you can beat the teams below us, then we've got that ability. So. Yeah, I don't see no problem with this break. I think it's come at the right time, actually.
Okay. Next week, we're going to have a look at all the players out of contract, so on. But just a word on the defence, Luke, because whilst we herald the 3-2 win, you did concede 2 away from home. Still worries about picking up runners, Zetterstrom as well in particular. Any concerns there?
I think for the first goal, I think Zetterstrom does need to do a bit better. I think his positioning is not the best. It's like you say, it's a great effort, but I think Zetterstrom should be at least getting a hand to it and saving it, but it just goes like right over him. So it's a bit poor defending. The second goal, it's just one of the things. Nat Phillips gets his legs tangled around each other, bobbles into the net. Like I say, he's been absolutely unbelievable every other game. But now I think defensively, I still think we look all right. Really, I mean, Langas coming on. He was meant to have surgery the other week. He's like, no, not doing that. I'm going to fight for this team and get him over the line. It was incredible.
Yeah, good shots. Right, we've got our belief back on this channel. To be fair, you guys never lost it. It was me that was saying you were down and social media. Right, join us next week then, because we're going to get these four to have a look at all the players out of contract and the loan players, of course, and decide exactly what happens to them. So join us for that. Enjoy the international break, and of course, next week we'll look ahead to Preston as well. See you then for that. Thank you for joining.